Now, how can we discover God and these effects? We discover God's effects by philosophy. Now, this sounds like a highfalutin word, but it really isn't, because we're using philosophy right now. Part of philosophy are the laws of logic, the immaterial realities that we all know, the laws of logic, the laws of mathematics, the laws of reason, the law of causality, that every effect has a cause. These are self-evident, intuitive principles. And, of course, morality. You just know that torturing babies for fun is wrong. You don't need to get any evidence for that. You just know it. It's called what philosophers call a properly basic claim. You just know it. It's part of being a human being. Now, you can suppress it, you can deny it, but in your heart you know it's true. Why? Because it's put there by God. And then we've got the natural sciences like physics, biology, and chemistry. We can learn about the effects of, say, creation by those principles. Now, there's something we're leaving out here. How else do we know God? There's one other discipline that we haven't listed here. How else do we know God? Other than philosophy, which is intuitive, much of it's intuitive, not all of it. Other than the natural sciences, there's one other thing we're leaving out. What? History, right? History is another way we get effects from God. We have archaeology, we have physical evidence, we have written and oral testimony. That's the Bible right there. This is a historical document that tells us what has happened in history, enough information to know how to get saved. That's what the main focus of the document is, how to get saved and sanctified. Can't tell you everything about history, no book could, but it tells you enough to know that you're a sinner and that you need to get saved and sanctified. Now, many in our culture today erroneously try and say that the natural sciences are all you need to know. In fact, we get all our truth from science. Can you get all your truth from science? No, of course not. In fact, you can't do science without philosophy, right? You can't do science without the laws of logic. You can't do science without the law of causality. Science presupposes the law of causality, right? When you're doing science, you're trying to figure out what particular effect was caused by a particular cause. How did this effect come into being? Well, there's a cause. Well, who did it, right? That's what you're doing when you're doing science. You can't do science without philosophy. In fact, everybody who gets a PhD in physics, biology, and chemistry, what does the PH in PhD stand for? Philosophy. That's what it is. It's philosophy of biology, philosophy of physics, philosophy of chemistry, whatever it is, philosophy.